Hello, and welcome to another Trev's Talks Tech, which sort of is and sort of isn't about music today. As you can see in front of me, I've got what looks to be a mixer board, and that's because that's what it is. And it's from, let me just bring this in. This is the Behringer Euro MX1604A mixer, which I have had, I literally can't remember how long. I think it's probably getting on for 20 years. And it's followed me around a variety of different houses, and it's been used here in different guises. And one of the things, it's always it gets bumped and knocked about a bit. And one of the things about this is that, of course, it's accumulated a lot of dust and it's been knocked about here and there. Now, basically, for the most part, it's been fine, and it still is fine. But unfortunately, this slider here, 5 and 6, it's on the stereo inputs, has a problem with its wiggly slider. And basically, unless I push a piece of paper into it, it keeps losing contact with the slider. So I think the wiper needs a bit of adjustment. I could, and while I've got everything out, I possibly, some people would probably say what I should really be doing is replacing all of these, and I totally hear you, but I don't really rely on this mixer as much as I used to, and secondly, I'm not even sure I could get the right sliders here to fit. But it is quite dusty in there, so the first thing I'm going to do is bring in the Baby Shark and give it a bit of a vac. So the vacuum cleaner is about to come on. And vacuum cleaner is doing absolutely nothing. So that's clearly the wrong approach to trying to clean these out. Instead of that, I'm going to just remove the brush from the end and use it more vigorously as an actual brush while I try and vac up with the other hand. Here we go. Okay, I hope that wasn't too painful. Right, so I've managed to get some of the dust off. I hope I haven't messed it up the slider too much in the process. Now, this was an interesting thing to try and get off, because if you look at the cover, that as you can clearly see, it was designed to fit all of those individual sockets and controls had to be removed, and the rotary ones had to be levered off with a small screwdriver. Thankfully, I seem to have avoided scratching any of the paintwork. The fascia will get a good clean before it goes back together. So right, my plan now, because everything else is working fine, I don't want to waste too much time on this. My plan is to get 5 and 6 actually right out of here and examine it in closer detail. So let's do this. Thanks, Uli, for making this easier, because it's actually clearly labelled as to which it is. Got my trusty soldering extractor here, and we'll see just how easily the unit comes out. Some very tiny little connections at the front here. It's quite hard to get the iron and the extractor in the same place. Let's give these a go. See myself having to maybe resolder a little bit and try not to do much. Don't want to get the other components around it too much. I hope you can still see there. I'm not concentrating on the camera. Aren't solder suckers a wonderful thing? It's just like a syringe in reverse. And some of you Babylon 5 fans out there might remember that there was an episode featuring the Soul Hunter where he was trying to extract the life force from Delen's leg, and the thing that was actually connecting his equipment to the unfortunate victim Delen was actually a solder sucker. There you go. You can quite clearly see that, and anyone with any electronics knowledge probably would have done a bit of a face palm when they saw that. I thought, oh, because it's when you recognize something mundane from the present day. Okay, I'm going to have to cut all of that because I have just unsoldered the wrong one. That is so me. Okay, cut. Okay, so got it turned over now, done the hoovering as much as I intend to. I'm now going to, well, actually, I'm just going to solder up the adjacent and totally functional 7 and 8. Why the hell don't I pay attention? Okay, cut. Okay, so I've got the board turned over, and here you can hoover it out as best as I can. I'm just been sort of messing about with some other components on here as well, but the thing I'm really after, of course, is 5s and 6s. So what I'm actually going to do is give them a bit of a fresh tinning with modern solder with a bit more flux on, which I think will give me a better chance of extracting all the solder wholesale. So there we go. Okay, so here we go. Good old trusty solder sucker. And it's a fairly involved process, probably made worse by the presence of that pillar right against where I want to work, but okay, that it is happening. It is happening. Probably need to tack the one at the rear as well in a moment. I'm kind of hoping the whole thing will lever away. That's on the strength of the first one. Have I managed to get that off? No, what I've managed to do is actually break the side of the pot, which is not good. But the solder is so dry now I can't actually pull it off. So I'm going to have another go at just keeping enough solder around all these terminals and keeping it wet enough to pull the edge of the pot out. And it's come away. Okay, there we go. Right, now the other end. And hopefully that's just, hopefully that is it. No, not quite. Evidently there are two more terminals just to the back, but it looks like I can probably just carefully pull those away. Keep going, Trevor. And it should come away in a moment. I need to re-solder them. I'll go. There we are. Right. Bit of flux is all it takes. Okay, but that has left the end in here, which gotcha. Right, I can clean those up and put them back. Okay, so there's that bit. Oh crap. Okay, well it looks like I'm going to have to actually replace the slider after all. Because I've managed to break the plastic end off with the tracks in. What a pain. Okay, well, so much for showing you how to repair this. What I will do, however, as I've got this far, is I'm going to take the whole thing apart and have a look at the wiper arrangement and just see what's possible. I'll need to put this aside as a basket project for a little while because I want my desk back. I'm actually, may well be another face palm here coming. I'm actually in the process of putting my whole studio back out again. I was trying to be good and have a small one unit at a time and everything else out of the way kind of arrangement. The problem with that, of course, is that is you suddenly find that that's not enough. You're doing a bit of music and I would like some effects on this, or I need to use a keyboard, or I need to use an external control voltage, or whatever it might be. And of course, in the end, oh look, you see that's where they were anchored in. I'm really quite annoyed about that. Every YouTube, or a lot of YouTube seems to have, how I successfully did this thing. And of course, we don't always, do we? And that's okay. That's completely okay. We often don't get things right first time. Sometimes we win, and sometimes we learn, as a good friend of mine would say. So, but at my age, you'd think I would have worked all this out by now. Oh no. Let's just try to remove that clip in a sensible way. These aren't the best tools for the job. I do have other tools, but they are in other rooms as well. And that would mean going back into the house. So I'm just going to take this, I'm just going to do this right here, right as I am, and not care too much because I've managed to mess up this whole thing already. So, that little frame there, which the entire thing rests on, and if I just peel back those little metal tabs there, and there's the other ones, and the other ones which I was trying to get to. It's my fault for not understanding the structure of the thing, but let's take that away. And I have to say, actually, looking at that, I don't know if this is really coming out in the camera, but the the carbon tracks don't actually look all that great anyway. At least that's what I'm telling myself, because to do otherwise would be to have to admit that that I fluffed it. Never mind. Well, look, here we go. I've just these, I don't know if you can see this very well. This is the wiper. Let me just bring the light up to the camera a bit more and try and get it in the camera. Yeah, that's the wiper face, and it was covered with quite a bit of fluff and things, but even so it was also still quite unstable, and I guess looking at that maybe it was broken. I'm pretty sure it's not meant to swing out like that. The other side doesn't do that, so perhaps it was broken already. All of which says that, well, after all, maybe the best thing I could have done was to break that, because it wasn't working anyway. The only problem I've got now is, of course, that was a stereo slider, a two-way one, and I don't know if I'll be able to find an alternative. So I'm going to try, of course, I'm going to try to find a new replacement one of those, and if I can't, well, then I'm not sure, because it looks like it has the sliders. It looks like two of them terminate on one side, and they are actually soldered in, and I don't know where the other little bit of plastic has gone now, but two of them, I've dropped it somewhere, two of them terminate on the other side, and so there's a kind of crossover taking place. I see it now. Yeah, here we go. So there we are, that's the other bit, and when all these tracks are put together, yeah, they're connected at, I think they're all four are attached at one end, and two of them are only attached at the other, all of which suggests a sort of potential divider. Of course, that's what it's meant to be. So there you go. This is part one of the project, and I've now got the slider out, and let's just have a look back here to make sure I haven't made a total mess of things. I'm going to clean these holes up. There's a bit of solder there. I'm going to clean up these holes and make it ready to replace with another one of those, and it says 10kD underneath, so I'm guessing that is a 10k dual slider that we've got there, and together with the reference number on the side of this, or the numbers that say 10k DX2 and 214k, but maybe I'll be able to find a replacement. Oh dear, have I just made too much of a mess to come back from? I don't know. We will see. If you've been watching, thank you very much. If you've been knitting while this has all been playing, well, I hope it's provided some background entertainment anyway. So see you in part 2. Take care.